All right, good morning, everybody. Today, I'm going to try something a little bit different for my stream. I'm going to analyze a poem from Tomasio A. Rubinshtein, Curse of the Three Ladies. Um be right back. Let me fill up my coffee again before I get started. Be right back.
निराकारमोङ्कारमूलं तुरीयं गिराज्ञानगोतीतमीशं गिरीशं करालं महाकालकालं कृपालु गुणागारसंसारपारं नतोऽहम्.
All right, waiting for my coffee to finish. This is the first time I'm doing this. I don't expect it's going to be the last time. I think this is going to be the first of many of these types of reactions. All right. As I'm waiting for the coffee, let's go ahead and get started. Curse of the Three Ladies. It's a poem. I don't know what I'm getting into. I don't know what it's about, so it's a first reading for you and for me. I had contemplated whether I should read it in its entirety, then react, but I'm going to do it as I feel, so I'm just going to read it and react with it during the first time through, okay? So first I'm going to react to the picture, even though I'm pretty sure it's just a stock picture. The picture sets the tone for the mood of the poem. So we see three kind of mystical ladies dancing in the mist, in the smoke. Okay, it's about kind of I think what the writer wanted to do, set the mood, very ethereal kind of mood. Three ladies. Now the racial makeup is very ambiguous. So, but they're definitely not overweight. That's one thing I can tell. Shapely. Let me grab my coffee real quick. All right, got the coffee. Oh, we ready to go. We are ready to go. All right. Three ladies appear before you, yet none you can truly choose, only to observe and contemplate until death reaps you too. Well, that first passage, it's a lot. I mean, if a writer or a poet or a singer or any kind of artist wants to go to death, right? That's already a pretty deep concept. So we're talking about desire and death, and the and not being able to realize that desire. At least as far as when I see three ladies, okay, I'm a man. I might be a woman reading this, but assuming the writer is a man, three ladies appear before you, but I can't choose them. So it for me, this first line represents eternal torture, right? Is you're tortured in your life until you die. The first lady is the first is the lady of the earth, the most important one, for the earth is where we all live at and sustain our living existence. All right, so I'm starting to now understand this is not supposed to be literally three ladies, but now each lady is representing some other idea or concept, right? The first lady is our earthly, okay? She has condemned you to carry the sin of irrelevancy, and thus you've sworn to prove her wrong. Well, now this poem's starting to make sense because I know the writer personally. Hey, Bot Lady's here. What's up, Bot Lady? I know the writer of this poem personally, Tomasio, the owner of the site, Philosicom. And if you've read some of Tomasio's other writings, you know his entire motivation was based out of a desire for revenge, of being called irrelevant. So this entire project is a proof to the world that Mr. Tomasio is not irrelevant. So now the reasons for this poem are starting to become more clear. Okay, and where this lady comes into Mr. Tomasio's life is starting to become more clear to me, at least. All right. And so with the second paragraph, Tomasio has pretty much laid out his foundations for his impetus for doing and creating. The second is the Lady of Shadows. She lacks the words, even though she can communicate well. She will put you in mutual silence just to be met with another of it. Because of that, she remains in the dark. Not even sincerity can break her awkward arc. This one's a bit more esoteric for me to unpack. I may have to ask the writer what he meant by this, but let me read this again and try to give my input. The second is the Lady of the Shadows. She lacks the words, even though she can communicate well. She will put you in mutual silence just to be met with another of it. I'm not exactly sure what the line "just to be met with another of it" means or refers to exactly. I can take some liberties to assume, but I may want to ask the writer himself, or maybe this is all to make us think. So this part, from what I read, see, communication. When you talk about words, what I know about communication is 90% body language. So for when the writer says she lacks the words even though she can communicate well, for me, I mean, as a writer, that's how a writer communicates, is with words, but people communicate with body language more. So yes, I firmly believe you can communicate well without using words. So that's not a surprise. The mutual silence means she has the power to silence you just to be met with another of it. So I mean, the second lady has issues. She communicates. It's like, you know what screams at me from the second? Misery enjoys company. You got a miserable lady, and she wants us to be miserable too. That's what I get from the second paragraph. All right. The Lady of Madness. She is thirsty for everything that includes the energy of life. Even though she was young at the time, she fantasized so dearly on being a mother and a wife. This one is not for thou. For philosophy, you truly only bow. So this one, the Lady of Madness, we have a woman scorned. And so she wants to destroy everything in her path because she didn't get what she wants. Another misery enjoys company. But I think there's a warning here. I think what the writer is trying to say is something's very attractive about this final one, the mad lady. I believe all three of them are supposed to be very attractive, and there might be a yin and a yang, something very attractive about that lady, but also something very destructive. So it's a warning, perhaps. There's an extra one who is excluded. Okay. Because her existence was the only who wasn't denied, who was not by life put aside. She's the Lady of Following, because even if months will pass, she will return to you without a final goodbye, and you lack the memory to remember why. This passage screams loyalty to me. Tomasio and I have maybe even discussed loyalty in the past of a characteristic that we both admire but feel is lacking in general society. So this passage here, all I here is a loyalty, and this fourth lady who is not even included previously is kind of capturing the essence of loyalty, and the fact that she's not even included kind of represents to me the fact that loyalty is not really there in society as we would like to see it. At all these ladies you observe, yet none you are able to truly serve. None of them will you able to truly deserve, since the world does not work like this, unless you are of certain nobility, and then your life will be far privileged than it is for thee. So I sense some pain, some unjustness. The world is not fair. Some people get things, some people don't. There's not much rhythm or rhyme to it. You're born into wealth or nobility, and that's how it is. Still, there is something that they all in common have, and that is to remind you of your solitary path. Some will dedicate, some will desert. Your path is here for the earth to save. If something that they all in common have is the fact that no one owes you anything and can depart whenever they please, that's true. You've once cried, you've once became depressed, but now you can be partially at ease as you are no longer oppressed at the thought of being alone once again. For you were alone all your life, and thus there is nothing new to gain. Something about loneliness enters the poem here. Something about the three ladies had a message of loneliness, and that path of solitary loneliness is the righteous path. And we were always alone, so it should not be considered something new or bad. The face is shaved, the face is cleaned, but the beard and mustache will be remembered, will be seen. If irrelevancy is a sin, then one will at least try oneself through philosophizing to redeem. Now I have issue with irrelevancy being a sin because as I mentioned, is something that is done to you, so is irrelevancy is something that others place upon you. You do not consider yourself irrelevant. As in fact, from an ego perspective, you yourself are the most relevant person to yourself, especially if you're in isolation. It is only through the observation of third parties that can create any irrelevancy, and it is their mutual affirmation that you're irrelevant to convince you that you're otherwise. So why I say irrelevancy can't be a sin, because it's not something you do or do unto yourself. It's something that other people do or place upon you. It's a characteristic that only can be observed by someone else onto you. So you cannot commit a sin by being irrelevant, because it is a characteristic that they place on you. You yourself are very relevant. If they think you're irrelevant, that's their problem. But if irrelevancy is a sin, it's not. It's not a sin. There's no way relevancy or irrelevancy can be a sin. It's a third-party observation you place on someone, and it's very subjective. But we do have, this is a personal poem of a man's discovering his inner motivations for existing and producing. Then eternal rest will eventually arrive, and at your final moments you will know that there is truly nothing left to show. It will be then that the world will remember that the curse of the three ladies is no longer a feature, a member. It will die along with you, for your life's a burden to be borne. And only in true accomplishment, true resolution, in your legacy's flame, it will be burned, and be torn and be burned, until there will be no one left to read, when even the Tenkai star will not be one's heed. I'm unfamiliar with the Tenkai star, so I'm a little bit ignorant to world religions and such. I imagine that I'll have to look up the meaning of Tenkai star, its relevance. So now we return to the theme of death. And looks like we have themes of redemption here. We have the mention of legacy. In your legacy's flame, until there will be no one left to read. It is too early to die, as long as I can write. Something may meet the world's eye. She might even finally realize how dumb of her it had been to regard me as irrelevant as mice. She will understand, yes, it might come the day where, with my words, conquer this world I may. Well, it's a very beautiful poem, I'll have to say. It's a very personal poem of a man's reason for being and doing. All right, till next time, Philosophicom.com, the world's best philosophy blog, and I may start contributing. I'm very lazy. I've said I would write an article for Tomasio, but man, I can't even think of anything to write about. So until next time, guys, enjoy the blog, enjoy the podcast.